Am I the only one that, like, whenever I'm trying to do something really important, or I'm trying to sit down and focus, or even if I'm talking face to face with somebody, that I kind of zone out? Am I the only one that does that? I definitely do that a bit more often than I would like to admit, but a quick story about that. A couple weeks ago, I went upstairs to write in my notebook, write out some business ideas for the company Prsnt, the YouTube channel that you're currently watching. And I started to look out at the trees. And I kept looking and I kept looking, and about 15 to 20 minutes later, I sort of snapped back into it and I realized that I was like, what the heck just happened? That's something I have, again, somewhat often, but this time was a little different because I had sat down to do something really intentional, and it wasn't that I lacked motivation or I didn't lack, wasn't not a priority, but I think my brain just needed like a break. I've had a lot happening in my life. My wife and I moved to a different state. I'm looking for a new job, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, my career. And this 15 to 20 minute sort of zone out was something that was a little bit of a wake up call, where I'd had it happen in conversations or in important moments before, but this time it was for quite some time. And I did a little Google searching and the phrase dissociation came up. Now, I've heard of this from others before, but essentially the definition from mind.org.uk is: dissociation is a way that the mind copes with too much stress, such as during a traumatic event. Now, I won't go too deep into this, but I've had a couple concussions over the years, and that's definitely messed with my perception and the system of my mind that regulates my body's hormones. It's a long chapter of my life, over 7 years, and I'd really gotten used to detaching to cope with the amount of stress, the amount of concern, fear, and the day-to-day uncertainty of how my neurochemistry was gonna be that day when I woke up, of how that was gonna affect my mental health. Is a result of things that I couldn't control, but nevertheless had a really big impact on me. And one of those impacts was unfortunately a new baked-in sense, or a baked-in mild dissociation. And so I was sometimes left with feeling distant from the reality that was right in front of me, but not having the natural brain response to take on life as it's happening. And it almost feels like I'm trying to grab hold of it as the timeline of the day is moving along. So I want to share a couple things that I've personally found helpful to sort of snap back or be able to grab onto the things that are happening right in front of my eyes. One of the most impactful things I've found is sort of a sensory check, checking up on all of the 5 senses of the body. So, for example, when I zone out, it'll be like, okay, what do I smell right now? Is it good or bad? What do I hear? Is there anything unique that I'm hearing? What do I see? What are maybe 3 unique things that I see that's maybe not natural to the environment in front of me? Or taste, am I eating something? Or what is the taste of my mouth at this given moment? Or what are my hands feeling right now? Or even deeper yet is, how is my body feeling at this given moment? Because often when I'm thinking too deeply or too detached, I tend to ignore how my body is actually feeling in a given moment. I find that this really helps ground me when I feel like I'm just too detached or daydreaming or whatever. Another thing that I found super helpful is running through intentional questions to sort of reframe what's going on and try to look at things from an overall significant perspective. I came across an Instagram reel the other day. I have since lost it to the feed, but it basically was something along the lines of like, everything a year from now will be completely different, so be sure to take it in right now. So I run through the story question. So I basically tell myself, hey, everything was so different last year than it is right now. All of those experiences that I had opportunities to take hold of, I don't have anymore. So what would I right now want to make sure that I took a hold of right now that I can look back on a year from now and say, oh, okay, I lived in that moment. There's another quote, it's like, why can't someone tell us that we're living in the good times when we're in the good times, or something to that effect? I guess it's kind of like that. So this sort of questioning really reshapes what you're looking at as not just life passing by, but a memory that's actively in the process of being created. So you gain this really interesting perspective while you're in the moment of a memory that's being created, and you get to sort of play things out how you want them to be played out. And you're not just letting it happen to you, but you get to let it happen for you. I'll keep saying it in these videos, but basically this is all coming from a perspective of, I hope that you resonate with this, a perspective of wanting to make sure that you don't miss out on life, that you actually live a fulfilling life, and that it's not like a, oops, I sped run through my 20s or 30s, and now I don't have any like good memories, I don't have any lore to look back on, and I just wasted it through unintentional, unintentional activities, just kind of letting life happen as it happens and not really being mentally there for it. I think that would be a sucky way to look back on life, having that regret. I don't want that. So these are things that I found personally very helpful, and I hope that they're helpful for you if you zone out or dissociate on a mild or potentially even an extreme level. I don't know. Maybe they're helpful, but I'm just here trying to document what it looks like to be able to reach for a more fulfilling, more satisfying life of living in the moment with others. And I believe the best of that comes when you're actively, intentionally living in the present.